Morning, guys. Morning. Looking over here. Getting some aggressive sellers down here at this low. See if they get absorbed. Got a ton of aggressive selling. Some absorption going on over here. Whew. What's going on, big deal? Morning. Let me adjust this. There we go. See if you get accepted back inside value. We can look to take out these highs over here. It doesn't look like we're getting acceptance yet outside this level of value, so we're really top heavy right now. Very top heavy right now. Where is... Man, I'm all over the place this morning. I was getting a couple things together last minute. Market's opening up. Market is very top heavy, so you can see some of the details we have here. I want to watch for a lack of fresh buyers. I mean, to finish that, a lack of fresh buyers. Oh wow, I didn't even realize. There we go. There we go. More of a sell-off here. Want to see how aggressive this is because we're getting a ton of aggressive delta pouring in, but I want to see if we get any type of follow-through first. Very top heavy here. Very top heavy. See if we can push through. We have the volume behind this move so far, but Don't want to fall for the short too soon. I'm going to be patient on it. I've read longer tails to the downside get bought up more. I don't know if it's true if you've looked into Wick statistics. I mean, I don't doubt that's true. I think you can combine something like that with more context. Single print inside of the fair value gap at 24.94. Yeah, this pressure to the downside is pretty aggressive. Pull that TPO up again. Right, bearish beneath this value area low. Very top heavy on the volume profile, top heavy on the TPO. Trump talking says must keep government open. Were we talking about shutting the government down? See 748, yes, got put. So we're bearish right now. I'm gonna be a little patient for an entry to the downside. Consolidation. This could be an additional add. I want to look at 24,975 levels. Really, what I'm paying attention to here. Oh, okay. He's up on True Social. There's a little bit of a retracement here. Pretty weak pop on this pop here, which is a pretty good sign. We want to really read to see if sellers are still in control. Aggressive downside move, trying to push outside of the level of value with volume. Yeah, we got some slight absorption as well. Big deal. Let's see the response off this value area low. Move myself down here. Sellers seem to be still in control right now. Aggressive sellers, that is. It'll be very telling once we get out of this little micro auction that we're developing right now. This could be the basis for the continuation if we get the continuation to the downside. Looks like more aggressive sellers are stepping in, supporting this move. More volume coming in at least. Sellers getting more aggressive, getting some triple digits on the delta too. Very top heavy still. Where is this level of value? It'd be very interesting to see if we can get down to this level of value down here. 24,821. If we get acceptance, that's going to be the, further out in time kind of day view overall target if we don't reclaim this level of value up here. If we continue to have price acceptance or acceptance in general outside of this value area low, that thesis is going to remain valid again until we can reclaim this 24,975 level. Until then, we're going to be sitting bearish. Bullish past 24,975 or shorting. It'll be neither. So right now bearish. If we reclaim that level 24,975, then it's going to be hands off the wheel. And then we will reconsider once we trade back towards the highs, if that's going to be the case. Don't be shy, market. You want to put in, you want to rip 23,005. You want to rip 1,500 points. And then you want to be shy with putting in a 50-point down move. But we're ripping 1,500 points in a week and a half to two. Like, no, don't start acting brand new, market. You're used to these large ranged moves. I bet it was getting a little chilly. Go getting some more some more follow through here. Still waiting to see if we're getting more continuation here. We're in a directional move right now. So this is going to be more conducive for directional type strategies, not too much range bound or mean reversion right now. But it would be interesting to see where we put in the bottom. Again, going to stay short biased until we can get down to these levels down here. So until then, we'll wait for the reclaim of 24,975. Let's go to the 30 minute and see what the larger time frame is looking like. Yeah, we're bearish. The thing is, we're bearish. We just don't know what it's going to look like if we continue to sell off, right? We're bearish until proven otherwise, until we reclaim this level over here. We could consolidate, sell off. We might rebound and then sell off. We might consolidate for another hour and then, you see what I'm saying? So it's one of those things you just got to manage it, trade what the market gives you, but you know your invalidation points. You know where your trade thesis is going to be invalidated. So that's really what the overall game plan is going to be for the rest of this morning, at least. Again, I mean, from a structure standpoint on the higher time frame, we've not broken structure yet. We're not going to be breaking structure until we can at least sell off, past this swing low over here. And for us to do that, for us to really see a change in the overall structure, we're going to need to see acceptance inside of this next level of value, and then acceptance outside of this level of value to be able to even see any type of extended downside to take out some other swing lows. But what's interesting is it'll be interesting to see how we turn around. A lot of the times we'll get some type of consolidation, some type of range bound moves, retake out a high, some fake outs before we really get the real move that we're looking for. But we'll see how the market plays out. Our job is really just to manage our position. And I think we can do the best job at doing that by just knowing what our trade thesis is and knowing when it's invalidated. So one way I think about it too is like, if I'm getting stopped out of my position prematurely because I'm managing my risk, but my trade thesis is still valid, that lets me know I was more than likely oversized into the position if it's causing me to manage it before the trade thesis is even invalidated. So we'll wait for that. What are you guys looking at? What are you guys thinking? How are you guys positioned right now? What are your thoughts? And you guys looking at gold at all? In the meantime, while we wait, let me put this back to a 5-minute. Oops. Gold is insane. Silver has been following gold lately, almost like a sympathy play type move on gold. Or I'm sorry, on silver. Sympathy play type move on silver. Nice single print, 24,961. That is interesting, right? Our single print came in at 24,961. That's where our single print, and 24,961 is right here. So this level, this highlighted yellow level right here, really showed an aggression of sellers coming there. My nose is cold. That's why it's been running. A lot of aggressive sellers stepping in. Let's see if they can hold or if they return. Candle close on the aggressive selling on the bid or the ask is really what will give a little bit more confidence. This market is not trying to go down. I mean, this market, every dip on the way up has been bought aggressively. Might be technical difficulties. UNH popping off today. UNH up $6 on the day. Anybody else along some UNH? UNH putting in that work. Shout out to the Warren Buffett endorsement on UNH. Let's get on some lo-fi. It's been a little while since I've been rocking some lo-fi. All right, with the ads. Oh, there we go. Very peaceful. Five, what, 5, 10, 15, 20, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25. I mean, we've been sitting here for almost 30 minutes consolidating. Boy, that's the life of trading. Literally sitting here for 30 minutes live trading while we consolidate sideways. That is the reality of trading right there. So it looks like Peter Brandt, which is one of the authors of Market Wizards, and Michael Patek, which is CEO of Top Step. They're kind of going back and forth right now on Twitter. It's kind of entertaining. Oh, bro. The trading community is hilarious sometimes. Yo, this is a boring market. All-time highs, worst markets to trade. The most boring markets you will ever trade in your life is an all-time high market. Easily the most boring markets that you could possibly trade is an all-time high market. We're consolidating, just sitting here. Bro, these institutions better be loading in short if we're just gonna sit here all day. Or unless maybe they want to reclaim it, take it to the highs, wipe that liquidity from the highs one last time before they dump it. I mean, this is like the first real pullback if you don't consider. This is like the first real pullback from post FOMC that we've gotten. And I mean, that's how you know we've been so dry for a pullback. I'm considering this like a pullback when really, you know, it's nothing too crazy. Some trading communities hurt more than help, I think. Yeah, completely. Also, too, like again, I think we talked about it yesterday, not much opportunity, but that's the reality of trading. Sitting here, analyzing, doing all that, and then sometimes not doing anything. Because sometimes I think our brains, we put in this work, right? And our brains think, okay, we're ready to do something. So sometimes we do all of this prep to do nothing. That can be the most difficult thing sometimes, just to sit there on your hands. But it's the reality of trading. It's the reality of the markets. So we'll treat it as such. I mean, what time is it? It's 9:21 Central Time, so the market hasn't even been open for an hour. This is still the time window where we should be observing the market and trading. So the opportunities will come. And I don't know if anybody else that tracks their trades or their journals, but if you track all of your trades over the span of 30 days, over the span of a month, I know for myself at least, I've realized most of my profits come from literally maybe 4 trades, 3 trades, 4 trades, 5 trades. It's like 3, 4, or 5 trades. The bulk of the progress comes from when I journal my trades at the end of the month. So that also lets me recognize, you know what, waiting for those better opportunities where you find risk to reward, where you have a great feel for the market in a specific trade, capitalize on it. If the risk relative to your risk, if the risk allows it, so that really puts things into perspective. Because it might just be one day out of this entire week, right? We're going to take more trades than that, but it might be just like one day out of this entire week where we fully capitalize on the fullest extent of a move. And we just need to be able to manage ourselves best we can in the middle of all of that. But yeah, no, welcome to, big deal. You've always been a day one. You've been a row one. Welcome to the first order flow streams, brother. The thing is, what's going to be really dope, order flow is going to be, this is what I believe. I 100% believe order flow trading is going to become extremely popular, almost going to become like the main thing that people trade eventually, because people are going to learn ICT, all these other patterns. They're going to stand on business for a long time, and they're going to be like, I'm this type of trader. But after a year, after 2 years, after 3 years of them doing something that doesn't work, they're going to go to order flow and actually learn how the market actually works. I'm just predicting this is how the herd behavior is going to go. I think that after a year or two, I think there's a lot of traders learning order flow right now, but I don't think there's a lot of traders that have the understanding to be able to start creating content, start hopping on live, and do all those kind of things. I think that's why there's not many order flow traders right now. But give them a year. We're going to get order flow traders everywhere. Once they learn the skill, they're going to be popping up on streams left and right. But by learning ahead of time, you'll be able to speak their language. You will be able to know exactly what they're talking about. There's other professional traders that are out there right now too that are going to start making content, and you're going to be able to speak their language. But uh, very likely order flow is going to be the way to learn trading, which makes sense because every single trading style is built off of order flow. Order flow is literally the order flow is what creates the head and shoulders, the orders coming in and out of the market. You know, without order flow, there is no market. There's no order flow. Without order flow, there's no price movement. You know. So I mean, order flow is the basis of the market. I'm trying to recognize those A plus setups a little bit more. Yeah, big deal. The best recommendation I have to that is just hone in on order flow or focus on order flow at your areas of interest. There's so much noise. There's so much numbers going on. There's imbalances here. There's absorption here. Because it's like, yeah, we might see absorption here, but what? So what? It's like, what does that mean? What does that mean to us? You know, it's like, it's not enough context. It's like maybe we're trading at all-time highs. On top of that, we got a rate cut, you know, we can start to kind of stack these confluences. And then on top of that, we see absorption in the order flow. So the absorption is confirming our thesis. The absorption isn't our thesis. You see what I'm saying? Do you watch for large market orders? Yeah, I watch for anything that stands out, anything that's unusual. You know, so not specifically, I'm not zooming in here and I'm like, okay, where are the largest orders? You know, but I also think that the narrative is everything because um, even where we get aggressive sellers kicking and where we get aggressive buyers kicking relative to where value is makes a huge difference in terms of how you would interpret those numbers and in that order flow. We're still consolidating. What is this? Okay, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, almost 35 minutes, 40 minutes. We've almost been sitting here for an hour and we haven't gone anywhere. We almost been sitting here for an hour. We haven't gone anywhere. So DOM flow isn't as important on short time frame or longer time frame. No, I would say it is. I would say without the DOM flow, without the DOM, there is no market either, right? Because we have to think about it in this way. The DOM is showing us what? The DOM is showing us all of the passive orders in the market. The DOM is showing us the liquidity that's being provided to the market. The DOM is showing us the liquidity in the book. These orders that we're looking at on the screen are taking the orders from where? The orders on the screen are aggressive orders. Aggressive orders take liquidity from the market. Aggressive orders take liquidity from the book. That liquidity in the market, that liquidity in the book are the orders that show up on a DOM or something like a heat map, like a book map. So with that being said, DOM on a shorter time frame would be just as important. Just because, again, like let's say on the DOM at this specific price level at 24,959, let's say we have a ton of passive sellers there, right? We're going to want to see how these aggressive orders are interacting with those passive sellers. So I wouldn't say it's not as important. It's just the other side of the trade. Passive orders and aggressive orders are matched up with each other, right? Need a small refresher after the stuff with my mom last week. There was an active shooter at my nephew's school. Turned out to be false alarm after I got him back home. Yeah, no. Glad everybody's safe, big deal. I know those scares kind of get you on the edge of your seat sometimes. But I'm glad your mom and your nephew are all good. We've either built an insane short trap or we're preparing for a nice downside move. What's going on, OGK? Never joined your live before. Yeah, we just started going live over like the last few days. So had a couple technical difficulties, but we're soon to be good to go. But we'll be here live every Monday through Friday, breaking down a lot of the order flow together. Nothing is happening today, Chop Fest. Yeah, we were talking earlier about how days like today in trading all-time highs is some of the most boring markets that you can probably trade. So, I mean, we've been chopping around for like the last 50 minutes now, I think. So we're going to start wrapping up here. But if you're around, bro, you know, come hang out again in the mornings. I think you'll like a lot of the order flow info we're going to be getting into. But quickly, before we hop off, we're looking to see if we get a reclaim above 24,975. That's what our eyes are on. Until then, you know, we're going to be patient. We're getting a lot of passive sellers being filled right now, which is good for the downside unless, you know, we break through that barrier at 24,959 right here. This second yellow line is another price level we want to pay attention to too. But Chop Fest today, no doubt. Chop Fest. Chop Fest today. The market, I know it wants to put in the downside move. It's just like too many people are waiting for that move now. And we're on a 5 minute, right? Let's go to the 1 minute. So also, OGK, I know you just joined, but typically with the order flow, we're going to be using a 30 minute and we're going to pair that with a 5 minute. This is the 1 minute. The only time I really will use the 1 minute is when I'm trying to like get a little surgical with the entries, typically. But you can clearly see after we flush beneath this level, this began to be another level of importance or a level of significance to the order flow, at least to the flow of orders. It's all right. We developed a little micro auction. That's what the market's doing right now. It's auctioning. That's what we've been doing over the last 45 minutes. Because that's where the market is finding value right now. In a shorter time frame, the market is in a balanced market finding value. Are we going to get acceptance above that value area high or below that value area low? That's going to be very telling for the direction that we're going to head next, but we can't predict whenever the market is going to start trading out of balance. That's the thing that we don't know. We don't know how long a market will be imbalanced. But on a shorter time frame, we can clearly see we're trading within balance. But we're going to be patient there. We're going to start wrapping up there. Again, we know what the trade thesis is. We're going to be looking to see if we get a reclaim above 24,975. That will invalidate our trade thesis, and we'll go from there. Be patient. That's the reality of trading, right? We're going to show, you know, the patience required for some of these moves in the market too. It's a good opportunity to do that. Longer it goes sideways, the bigger the pop. A lot of the times, because it's accumulating a lot more volume. Not always, but also big deal. That's also within context, right? If we're outside of the larger time frame value area, the pop is going to be bigger. If we're inside of the larger time frame value area, or if we're inside balance, the pop is going to not be as large. But then also you have to take into account, well, how far is the value area high and how far is the value area low? Because that could, you know, factor in how much the market wants to run if we get acceptance outside this level of balance. But for this case, since we're outside the value area low on a higher time frame, we're sitting in a low volume node, right? It's a thinner market. So the breakout will be a little bit larger to the downside if we get it to the downside. We can still get a breakout to the upside, but the upside is going to be a little bit more suppressed just because we have that higher time frame to value sitting right above it. I mean, we could rip there. Of course, we have the highs to be able to target. But in terms of my positioning, I don't, you would have to trade that to the value area high. You would have to be trading a value rotation to the all-time highs, which happens to be the previous day's high or the pre-market highs or whatever. But anyways, with every move in the market, we always have to take it within context. What state are we trading in right now? And when I say what state we're trading in, I'm talking from a higher time frame perspective. Are we trading in a balanced market right now, or are we trading in an imbalanced market right now? And then on a lower time frame, that's going to really influence, because that's the environment we're in. That's going to influence everything else. And, knowing if we're in a balanced or imbalanced market lets us know what the weather is today. And then we go play the soccer game, and then we go play the game, the basketball, the football game, whatever. That just lets us know the conditions. Thanks, Errol. I appreciate you streaming and all you do. I hope to meet you one day. We will meet, big deal, and I'm looking forward to it when we do. We're going to start wrapping there, though. We're on for a solid hour. Didn't get anything, but we had to express our patience today is really what we got to do. Market's still chopping around. We know our invalidation points, and, there's really not much else to say from there. That is today's stream. We'll be back. Big deal. We'll most likely be back in the community later today, and we will do a recap of today. So, hope everybody has a good rest of your day. Big deal. Always thinking about you, brother. Hope you're doing well. And OGK, everybody else out hang out. We'll see you guys in the next